set, where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying?
Let me make it perfectly clear that I do not condone violence. I don't want my students to fight people if they don't have to. When people try to poke the bear at me, I'm the type that ignores it as much as possible. But this is why I train in martial arts. It's hard to explain this, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. This heated exchange, I'm reacting to Markwayne Mullin, his outburst against the Teamster leader. See, this is what some people try to do. They like to walk up to the edge of saying things that in some circles provoke a fight, right? Now, like they like throw out they throw out a fighting invitation, not directly, but indirectly. And then when you respond to it, then they try to act like, oh well, I wasn't trying to be violent. I wasn't trying to do anything. You have to not fall for that in the workplace. You have to not fall for that, period. Unless you really are just going to go after it. There are a lot of people that like to play this little game. But as you can see, even in the highest levels of attainment in our society, you still have people that'll put little things out there that if a warrior type of person responds to it, then that warrior type of person is violent. Even though the other person know, and I believe they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're just not used to people saying anything. So I recommend ignoring it as if you can. Because sometimes you have to be careful though. It's a fine line. You have to ignore it. Okay? But yet you still have to be ready in case they decide to escalate so that you can defend yourself. Defending yourself doesn't necessarily mean hitting first. If you go by what a lot of us were taught initially when we started off the lower levels with our forms, if you did Taekwondo or karate, they would always say in karate, they would say in karate, your first move is a block. That means you defend first. If you actually implement that as a civilian, I think that's how you can avoid being baited into traps where the other person wants to get you to act violent. It's like they want to escalate things a little bit. And then if it's about to go physical, they pull back to try to Judo, kazushi you and throw you off balance mentally and emotionally while they appear to be on balance and they try to make you look like you're the bad person. So let's dive a little bit more into this.
Do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution?
Hold.
Do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up now.
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution?
No, sit down. Sit down.
It was a heated exchange today on Capitol Hill between Senator Markwayne Mullin and Teamster boss Sean O'Brien. This happened during a Senate committee hearing on the condition of American workers.
And joining us live right now.
Oh, if you notice, when he stood up like this. I don't know if I've said this in some other videos. I know I've said this to students. Isn't this June B? This is June B. Where you stand at attention at your forms. That's June B. Like this. Symbolizing that a fight is about to begin. Sometimes your forms are telling you when you stand at June B like this. I'm sure a lot of you have seen that if you've been in the martial arts. Let me back this up. You've seen this, haven't you? You've seen people standing in that position. See how he stood up because he was getting ready to possibly fight. See how he did that? And people say that traditional martial arts, especially forms, don't apply to your life or have no practical value.
Now is Senator Mullin. Senator, appreciate you taking the time to talk with us this afternoon. Let's get
Absolutely.
right into it here. What exactly happened today, and what is this feud between you two all about?
Well, last summer, him and I had a conversation in a hearing, and it got pretty heated at that time because the guy's a thug. I mean, he's an absolute thug. He said he wanted to bring back the mobster mentality to the Teamsters. He's been in trouble multiple times with the law for harassment. Has been expelled.
Now, he said the guy's a thug, right? A lot of people like to talk like they're thugs, like to act like they're thugs. They try to act thug-like, right? And they can get away with that with people who won't respond to it. But see, if you've got that warrior ethic in you, you might respond to that. So that's why I say those of us who are martial artists, as a civilian, you're not just called to war. You're called to be. That's why I have for my teacher's creed. I have a teacher's creed and a student creed. For my teacher's creed, I have blessed are the peacemakers, for they should be called the children of God. Because after you do the student creed, blessed be the Lord my strength, who teaches my hands to warm my fingers to fight. Once you get that down, you have to learn how to also bring peace to balance that out. Because a lot of people like to talk that thug talk, but they don't really expect you to do anything about it, though. And that's what he described. He described this guy as a thug, and he said this guy has done some things, this Teamster leader, against the law. That's what that senator is saying. But he's also saying that Teamster leader doesn't expect for people to call him out. And I'm telling you, I've seen this, and I've experienced this. People say things that's like, in a different context, different environment, that would be seen as a threat. But again, if you call them on it, then you're the bad guy.
Expelled from the Teamsters before for harassing own members. And after our hearing last time, he kept tweeting at me. He kept going 5 or 6 times. His last tweet, though, he said I was a clown and a fraud, and that I was despicable and all this stuff. But then he said, you know where to find me anytime, any place, cowboy. Well, I responded back to him at the time and challenged him to an MMA fight for charity, September 30th. He never responded to me. Well, coming back into this, the conversation got heated again. I read his tweet to him, and he called me out and said, anytime, any place. And listen, from Oklahoma, being raised in Oklahoma all life, you don't do that. You don't go run off the mouth unless you expect to be called to the carpet. And I did that. I don't think he was wanting to receive that because he's just not used to being called out. I think the guy's really tough on a keyboard, but that's about it.
And
he said it. He said perfectly what I've been trying to get to. People like to say things. They like to talk this type of fight talk, this gangster talk, this thug talk. And that's to get a rise out of you. And then, if you respond like you would based on wherever you're from, because I could be wrong, but I don't think Oklahoma is the only place that has this in their code of in their honor code. That if you put fighting words out there, expect a fighting response. And I think he's right. I bet you that Teamster leader doesn't expect for people to respond to it.
Senator, help us understand here. So during this exchange, at one point, you said we can finish it here. And then you stood up. So what exactly did you mean by that? And were you planning to do something?
Absolutely. There was no problem with that. He was an adult. I was an adult. We both agreed to it. In a Senate, that's not uncommon. Member Andrew Jackson had 9 duels, and when he was president, and finished all 9 of them. He also knocked a guy out in a dinner at the White House. There's been multiple duels and multiple canings that's taken place in the Senate. At sometimes, every now and then, you just need to be called out on it. And this guy, he's a thug, and he wanted to continue to do what he said he was going to do. He just didn't expect I'd call him out on it. And absolutely, if we were able to finish it, we would have finished it.
Well, Senator, we tell our kids so often, do not resort to violence. You are one of the most powerful men in the country, challenging someone that you disagree with to a fight at the U.S. Senate. How do you justify that?
Well, fights happen.
See, this is what happens. This is how they play you. This is how they get you. They say something, they do something. I know I'm being repetitive. I gotta stop repeating myself so much, but this is just a perfect example of this. They say something, they try to provoke a response out of you, and then if you respond, you're responding to their aggression because they're being aggressive. Then you're gonna have other people who are watching it. They're gonna turn around and judge you. That's why I recommend you speak the words. You speak in a manner where you are not responding to the confrontation. The Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath, so that's where Bible self-defense can come in as well. Taekwondo, courtesy. Judo, mutual welfare and benefit. Okay. You respond with courtesy, use a soft answer to turn away wrath. That's what you're saying. But you still have to be on guard in case they decide to turn it physical. Because I know I've been in situations where someone is trying to do something and I don't let it go there. I don't let it go there. I'm not responding to it. And then they get emboldened and forget themselves and then try to go physical. Then I stay completely defensive. I don't try to counter strike. And then a lot of times, even if you just move out of the way of what they're trying to do, that can help too. You cannot be the aggressor even though they're being aggressive in their words if you are in a setting that does not condone violence. And that's typically any type of corporate, professional, work, or even academic setting. Or a setting like this. As you can see, even in the highest levels of attainment, you still have people that will try to put that vibration out there to use it. See, they want to use that vibration, that thug thing, those thug words, to mentally throw you off balance. Mental judo against you. Don't let them mentally judo you. Don't let them kazushi you. Kazushi means to take your balance.
You know, boys are boys. I raised 6 kids. I got 3 boys, 3 girls, and every now and then they're going to get in a fight. They're going to get in a fight at home too. And it's not something we encourage, but it's going to happen. And I used to fight professionally, so I'm not looking for a fight. I'm not mad at the guy. He just said something that he needed to be answered for. What was I supposed to do? Sit there and ignore it? That's not how I am. It's not how I raise my kids. You got to be responsible for your words. And if you're going to say it, then you need to own it. And that's what I tell my kids all the time. If you're going to do something, they need to own it, regardless if it's a good success or if it's a mistake. Own it. And that's all I was doing. I was making him own his words.
Well,
now, see, if you don't know who Markwayne is, please look him up, read his books. One of his books, can't remember which, even though he's one of my favorite authors, he talks about honor culture. Senator Mullin is talking about in an honor culture, you stand by what you say. Now get this, he's saying he was a professional fighter, right? He's not afraid to fight, but he doesn't dislike the guy or hate the guy per se. He did say in another clip that I was looking at that he doesn't respect him because he thinks the guy has low character. I don't know. I don't know if he does or not. That's what Senator Mullin said. I don't know if this Teamster leader has bad character or not. I'm going by what was said in the 2 videos that I watched. But again, in honor cultures, or from people that have that warrior ethic, you know, I guess the best way to put it is they don't necessarily see fighting as something that's some type of anger display, or they don't have a problem with it. They don't have a problem with fighting if it's 2 consensual people coming together and agreeing to do it, right? But the rest of society doesn't feel that way.
Well, this had nothing to do with Congress. This has to do with 2 adults. And if this guy wants to have a cup of coffee afterwards, that's fine. I fought guys professionally in the cage before that I'm friends with. I competed in wrestling and jiu-jitsu my whole life. And it's no
Regular people don't understand that. That's how you know this guy this guy is definitely he's a mixed martial artist. You know he's a martial artist. A lot of people don't understand how you can be competing against somebody in contest. You can even fight somebody, quote unquote, for real. And you can sit down and have a coffee or a beer or a drink with them, have a sandwich or something. Once that's over, normal people just don't understand that. They don't understand that. I know I'm dating myself now. That's how I came up. But that's what we were taught when I was a kid. If you get into a fist fight with someone, it's over after that. Win, lose, or draw, the only dishonor came in not defending yourself, not fighting. That's where the dishonor came. But it's over, it's over. Yeah, some people I like and have a lot of respect for, people I competed against, people that have beat me in competition. We don't, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. But you live in a society with other people, and again, that's why we as martial artists, we can't fall for that bait, man. We just can't. We can't fall for that bait because we're not afraid to go there. Because these other people who like to, like I said, they start, they raise it. Let me get the proper hand. Okay, so they raise it a little bit. You meet it. They raise it a little bit more. You meet it. They raise it up, not quite to the full height, and then you go up here, and then they pull back and they point at you and say, "Look what he did."
Hard feelings. It's just sometimes things happen, and at the end of it, we can shake hands like adults, and we can settle our differences at that point. If the guy truly wants to sit down and have a cup of coffee, let's talk about our differences here. But I'm not going to allow him to do what he did. He's a bully, and he continues to bully. What do you expect? A guy that says he wants to bring back the mob mentality, we're supposed to ignore that. A guy that says anytime, any place, I'm supposed to ignore that. That's not how I was raised, and that's not what we do in Oklahoma.
Now, see, he says that the other guy is actually the bully. That's what some people do with their words. They bully you with their words. But if they can get you to go physical, or want to go physical, or appear to want to go physical before they appear to want to go physical, they make you look like the bully. They basically, I guess that's kind of like a Hapikdo or Aikido in a way. They invite you out with their words. They're actually a bully. They're trying to, so I guess that's Judo. It's Hando no Kuzushi, off balancing by reaction. So this is a verbal Judo again. They try to off balancing you, try to get a reaction that they know they can get from you by using certain words. And again, if you respond, what are you? You're the bad person.
What do you have to say about what happened there?
It happened. I didn't start it. I absolutely did not start it. I didn't go after him. But at the end of the day, I don't think anything's going to come out about it. But I bet you I bet you he learned a lesson not to run out the mouth, at least towards me. He may be able to do it to other people, but not towards me anymore.
Senator Markwayne Mullin, we sure do appreciate your time. And you said,
Thank you.
He invited you to coffee, that you're up for that. So keep us posted on that, and perhaps you guys will be able to resolve this.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This interpersonal dynamic here, it shows this interpersonal dynamic here, this argument here, this conflict, it's actually is addressed in the martial arts. It's actually addressed in the things that a lot of people probably think are useless. It's addressed in the forms. Junbi, that's how people move when they're getting ready to have a confrontation. Junbi, they do Junbi. The hands come out in front like this in fists if they're thinking about a confrontation. Junbi. Junbi, or however you pronounce it in your style. But in this case, the tactics are with words and emotions rather than punches, kicks, throws, and pins. And there are attempts at off balancing, and there are responses. And there are drawing of boundaries and barriers. And, you know, at the end of the day, though, in this instance, things were kept at words. So I found this whole thing to be pretty interesting. This is actually a real life application of martial arts principles. I still personally maintain, as much as you can, you avoid physical conflict. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with people like talk about the martial arts and peace. As always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.